just a heads up, there will be spoilers in this video. Tears of the Kingdom is delivering on all the hopes and promises everyone had for it. The idea that you could follow up a game as amazing as Breath of the Wild with a direct sequel was a daunting one, something that gave a lot of folks secondhand fear and anxiety for Nintendo. But they didn't shrink from the challenge, they didn't disappoint, and they may have darn well exceeded all expectations. Tears of the Kingdom is a great game, worthy of all the praise it's received in the short time since its release. I don't want anyone to mistake what I'm saying here, those 9s and 10s are fully merited. That's not to say there aren't shortcomings though, and today I want to highlight my favorite and least favorite thing about Tears of the Kingdom thus far. Remember, I'm not the person to comprehensively analyze the entirety of this game, especially with how recent it's come out and how big it is. With that said, let's dive in. The best part, Traversal. I know that's a really broad category, but I think it's what makes the game so enjoyable, what makes the large world so digestible, and why so many of us love getting lost in Hyrule. Specifically, the Skyview Towers. These beat their Sheikah Tower counterparts from Breath of the Wild because of the launch mechanic they introduce. In Breath of the Wild, you'd climb to the top of a Sheikah Tower and try and glide off to make some progress crossing the large expanse that was the Hyrule world map. Here, it launches you into the sky, often high enough that with sufficient stamina, and maybe a puff or two from Tulin, you can traverse the majority of the province you're in. It makes getting around manageable and exciting. Seeing a tower makes me want to get to it and activate it, because I know it'll open up even more possibilities. It pulls me across the map. I also enjoy seeing just how far I can get vertically, say when I jump from an island and eventually make my way into the depths below ground. Underground is worth the time it takes to traverse and explore, even though it's dark and hard to navigate initially. The light routes, being a mirrored version of shrines, is an added touch I really appreciate. I think I've spent more time covering the map than I have focused on weapon upgrades or combat at this point. In fact, I'm not above avoiding an encampment of enemies altogether if it means I can keep finding new places to explore. Now, a lot of people will say that the new abilities are the best part of it, and I agree that they are jaw-dropping and addictive, but I love them for how they add to Traversal. Putting fans and batteries on a glider to help me cover more ground is an awesome experience. The worst part. The story. There, I said it. Nintendo took a golden opportunity to explain, clarify, and codify so many loose ends and confusing plot threads, and squandered it. When I heard Zelda say the words, imprisoning war, I got so excited, elated, like a kid again. Then when I realized that this imprisoning war was a different version than the one from A Link to the Past, I was honestly let down. I had thought, here's a chance for them to explain so much, especially with how unclear and blurry the past of Breath of the Wild was. But instead, they cheapened the history of the series by simply repeating a similar plot thread from before. Sages, a war over the control of Hyrule, and seeking to use either the Triforce or in this case, the Secret Stones. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom changes things with the time travel element of Zelda going into the past, but it's basically the same story, with just enough tweaks to knock it out of synchronization. It was a really huge disappointment in an otherwise perfect game.
Again, don't get me wrong, it is a great story on its own, but as part of the Zelda series, all it does is add more confusion and waste the chance to tie up loose ends.
On a side note, I think they could have cleaned up so much of the confusion around timelines and histories with the Hyrule Warriors games. If they had just said, hey, these worlds and timelines are all colliding, they could have easily resolved so many plot threads, at least officially. Think the Marvel Cinematic Universe multiverse idea, but for Zelda. But I digress. If you haven't played it, you need to drop what you're doing and get on it. It's arguably one of the best games you'll play this year, if not this entire console generation. Crisscrossing the expanse of Hyrule, including the Sky Islands and the depths below, is truly an experience to behold. Let me know how you've enjoyed the game so far, what you've liked about it, or what you wish Nintendo would have done differently. Until next time.